When the Trojans get to the big house, are they in over their head, or is Michigan just average?
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Hulkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast, the show is always going to be free, and this show is always going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So the Wolverines, they're 2-1 on the season. You know what? And they haven't even left home cooking yet. They have not left Michigan. Their first three games, all at home. Must be nice, right? They have wins over Fresno State and Arkansas State. They have a little bit of a butt whooping that was sandwiched in between those two teams. They lost to Texas. Now, we know Michigan is going to be good on defense. But how good? How good are they? We're going to talk about that here. Coach Riley thinks they're good. When they played Fresno State and Arkansas State, they held both of those teams to less than 300 yards of total offense. That's really good. I don't care who you're playing. That's really good. But when they played a team with a pulse, an actually really good team, Texas, the number one team in the country right now, Michigan's defense allowed 31 points, 389 yards total offense, which is still pretty good. But 246 of those came through the air, the other 143 on the ground. So number through the air that I want to focus on, we're going to touch on that in the second segment as well. So the question is Michigan still good on defense? Or are they in a rebuild mode? Reload. I think they're probably closer to rebuild than reload. Don't ask Coach Riley this question because he's never going to give anybody bulletin board material, let alone Michigan, USC's first time as a member of the big conference. Let's not make a bad impression with your new neighbors, right? Don't say anything negative until after the game. In fact, Coach Riley, this is what he thinks. He thinks you probably need mental help if you think Michigan isn't a good football team. Quote, they're like most teams that have had a run of great years and had obviously a tremendous year last year. What you're judged on is so high. Make no mistake about it. This is still a very, very, very good football team. 3 times for emphasis. And anybody that thinks they're not is crazy. All right. This is without a doubt one of the best defenses in the country. They have NFL personnel on both sides of the ball, all over the place. A really good coaching staff, crazy experience. I mean, this is a great team that'll be a big challenge. End quote. So you heard Coach Riley say, look, if you don't think Michigan's a good team, you're crazy. I'm not crazy, Coach. All I wanted was a Pepsi. Sorry, had to do that. You might know what I'm doing right there. Anyways, I do agree, though, with Coach Riley. Michigan has a very stout defense. They're really good against the run. Mason Graham, you got Kenneth Grant. Those are your two main guys in the middle. You've got Derek Moore. You got Josiah Stewart. Those are your two starting rush defensive ends. You got Will Johnson, cornerback, patrolling half the field. They have some really good frontline guys. But again, as good as the Wolverines are on defense in 3 games, just 4 sacks. That doesn't seem right, right? Let me put that number into perspective for everybody. USC has only played 2 games. They have 3 sacks. So Michigan's played 1 more game. They've got 1 more sack. I'm sure they're finding their way, just like USC's defense is finding their way. Quote, defensively, it's pretty obvious It's a really good group, tremendous defensive line. They're really good at all levels. They've got one of the best corners in the game, Will Johnson. It's what you would expect when you go play the defending national champions. They've got a really good team, and it'll be a big-time challenge for us, end quote. Again, that's Coach Riley talking. Nobody is going to offer up a big-time argument when it comes to Michigan's defense. Now, they might not have the same depth as last year, but front line, again, they're still really good. I'll say what Coach Riley said. They're very, very, very good. Starters, frontline players. It's the guys behind them who are still good, but not very, very, very good. So as long as the Trojans' offensive line, as long as they continue to play clean, stay disciplined, USC is going to be in a really good spot in this game. That's the biggest challenge for the offensive line. They're going on the road. Again, by far their biggest test, right? 100,000 people should be louder than the 65,000 that USC heard in Las Vegas when they beat LSU. So again, just stay disciplined. It's the other side of the ball for Michigan where they're not very, very, very good. Right? I can see defensively, they're going to cause USC some challenges. Offensively, I don't know. You know, at least with the passing game, I don't know. You know, look, if you watched or listened to yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, my everydayers heard this. You already know that Alex Orji is going to take over the starting quarterback role at Michigan for Davis Warren. Coach Riley actually talked about him after practice today, and he said he remembers him from high school. Quote, obviously, we know they're looking at a quarterback change here. So certainly got to be ready for all things there, but we know the player and athlete that Orji is. I actually remember him coming out of high school. We have a lot of respect for him and their weapons they have around him. And their ability to run the ball, they ran it really well last week. They have elite tight end, elite backs. They have tremendous players offensively, end quote. Now, Khalil Mullings, Donovan Edwards, really nice tandem at running back. Their wide receivers, I think those guys are still waiting to break out. Amarian something or another. Sorry, if I don't know your name, you're not a player that I'm concerned about. Now, I might change my mind by the end of the week. I'll get those names memorized. But Michigan's wide receivers don't scare anybody. Coach Riley said he remembers Orji from high school. Well, he might remember him. Alex was a member of the 2022 recruiting class, just for everybody's own edification. But here's the thing, and I know Oklahoma offered him. I'm not sure it was Coach Riley who offered him. Remember, Coach Riley took over the USC team at the end of the 2021 season. That was the year USC literally crashed and burned big time. But that's why we have Coach Riley now. That's why we have Coach Antonlynn as their defensive coordinator now. Everything happens for a reason, right? Right. Again, following Tuesday's practice, Coach Riley was asked about the quarterback change. And just keep in mind, Coach Riley is always going to keep his cards close to the vest, very guarded, doesn't give out bulletin board material. So this is what he had to say. Riley said, every quarterback at this level can throw the ball, and he doesn't think it's reasonable to expect Michigan to run it 70 times and throw it once. Yes, some hyperbole there. The implication being that everybody expects Alex Orji to run as much as possible because he's not a great thrower. I'll say it straight out. Orji cannot throw the ball. It's a head scratcher. I mean, he had some really nice offers coming out of high school. Michigan, Oklahoma. I think Miami was in there. It's really weird. You see these guys playing high school and they look like, they're all Johnny All-American, right? Johnny football. And then they get to college and you see guys that were considered the top quarterbacks coming out of high school in their class. DJU. He's now at Florida State. He's gone from Clemson to Oregon State. Now he's at Florida State. He's got Steve Sachs disease. If you know who Steve Sachs was, he played second base for the Dodgers. Dude just cannot throw a ball. It's weird. So yeah, guys can spin it. You know, they might have strong arms. I think Orji has a strong arm, 6'3", 230 pounds. He can heave it. But when the lights come on and there's 100,000 fans in the stands all focused on you, that's pressure. All of a sudden, you start short arming things. You get those alligator arms. We'll see what happens on Saturday. Will he have the confidence to just let it rip? Test that USC secondary. So here's my question to end this segment. Which is going to have a bigger impact, or which will make the bigger difference in the game on Saturday? USC's much, much improved defense, or Michigan's offense with a running quarterback who will throw it when necessary? I saw a few things at USC's practice on Tuesday that are giving me good reason to think USC is really focused. They're ready for this game. One player in particular. We're going to talk about him next. You heard us talk about FanDuel a lot. America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd. It's almost September 22nd. Today's the 18th. So you got like 5 more days total. All FanDuel customers, you can bet $5 and you can get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All right? All you need is a Google account, a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to download America's #1 sports book. When was the last time you went to a concert, comedy show, any live event? When was the last time you went to a USC football game? I know people like to watch on their 4K TV. I get it. When was the last time you went to a live event? Check this out. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks, and it makes getting tickets for your favorite live event super easy. Game Time Picks is going to filter out all the fluff. It's only going to show you incredible deals. It's going to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of different tickets. That's a pretty cool feature. And how many of you have even used Game Time to get tickets to a game this year? If you haven't, why not? You already know how much I love their see your seat before you check out feature. You literally can see what you're going to see before you check out. I saw that feature. It worked. It's cool. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We talked with Zachariah Branch after practice Tuesday. You're watching this episode on Wednesday. You better be watching this episode on Wednesday. Become an everydayer. Click that subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up button. Click that bell notification button. You won't miss an episode, and you will help the show continue to grow. So we talked with Zachariah Branch, and we actually had to wait a little bit longer to talk to him because he and his brother Zion, they were doing an exclusive interview with one of the local TV stations. Well deserved, but nevertheless, which let me just get this little mini rant out of the way real fast. I hate it when the TV media crews show up. They get special access. They set up their tripods. It makes my job a little bit more difficult. I got to hold my phone up here to record the interviews. My shoulder hurts. Anyways, let's get back to Zachariah Branch. He said that he spent the bye week kicking himself He was pretty upset, ticked off that he dropped that touchdown. I've talked about it on the show a couple of times. But he's also had to watch that kickoff return against LSU, the one where the kicker tackled him. He said, man, I should have just stayed to the outside. That's what happens, though, when you're competitive. You want to see how many guys you can beat one-on-one. He let that one get the best of him. And he took his eyes off that touchdown pass against Utah State. I told you, he just did not see the ball in his hands. He saw the ball coming. He's like, oh, there's the goal line. Oh, there's the ball. Can't do that. So for a week, he's been stewing, literally. He said he's not pressing, but he said he does feel like he's ready to have a really big play. He said he was talking about how the guys are trying to, just keep him focused. Guys came up to me like, good, trying to encourage us, but I'm not good, man. I'm a competitive guy, end quote. It's not the words, it's how he said it. I loved it. First of all, I was watching his eyes. The eyes are the windows to your soul. So he didn't necessarily tell his teammates, get out of my face because I'm pissed. But that was the message I heard when he was talking to us. It's like, yeah, you're trying to tell me it's going to be okay, but no, man, I screwed up. Can't do that. You want that type of energy. You want that inside of you, so the next time you have an opportunity, it's like, all right, don't do what I did last time. As a coach, as a teammate, that's the type of response you want, especially from one of your, finger quotes, team leaders. His teammate Deuce Robinson had some really big praise for Zachariah. He said, obviously, Zach is a freak athlete. I believe there's no one in college like Zach. He's right. There isn't. Zachariah is eventually going to pop one. It's going to happen. And I can't think of a better place than the big house. Perfect place to have a great start to the rest of the season. I'll say it again. Zachariah just needs to stay focused. 100%. Every single play. That's the biggest challenge, not just for a second-year player, for upperclassmen too. You got to stay focused 100% of the time. That's what coaches are always driving. Give me 100% every play. Pretend it's your last one you'll ever do. So I saw that in practice today. I saw a little bit of both with Zachariah. During the special teams, he's with the returners. He's out there warming up. Eddie Japliski gave a really big punt, and he dropped it. Coach Ryan Doherty was standing right there. Kind of looked at him like, come on, man. The very next rep, big punt again. Zachariah had to backpedal to the goal line, but he looked the ball in. Perfect technique. He looked like he was ready on that one. But again, freak athlete, without a doubt. During the wide receiver warm-ups, when they're doing their air routes, he made a really cool one-handed catch. He kind of turned one way and then turned back the other way and came back with his right hand. Even Kyron Hudson would have been jealous. He would have been like, you're the man. You're the man. And when he finished the play, he kind of rolled over on his back, spun the ball, like a top. Good concentration. Good play. Just to remind everybody, Zachariah was a first-team All-American as a true freshman, return specialist. He won the Jet Award. He returned both a kickoff and a punt for a touchdown as a true freshman. As a wide receiver last year, 31 catches, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not bad. But people they got a taste of Zachariah. They saw what his potential is, what he's capable of doing. Michigan's head coach, Sharon Moore, knows exactly what he's capable of doing. He said this. He's explosive, twitchy. He's a big playmaker. He's right. All of those things. All three of those. They describe Zachariah to a T. I have zero doubt that Michigan's defensive coordinator, the great Wink Martindale, he's going to scheme something defensively for Branch to try and get him off his game. So far, though, if you're trying to, how do you defend Branch? Where is he most likely going to line up? He's seen 66 snaps on offense in the 3 games, 20 per game, roughly. Actually, 22 per game to be precise. 48 of those have come in the slot. So typically your slot guy is covered up by your nickelback. Zeke Berry, good luck. That's Michigan's nickel guy. Will Johnson, All-American cornerback, maybe the best in college football. Both he and Jair Hill, those are their 2 starting corners. They're going to have their hands full. They got to deal with Mekhi Lemon, Hughes Robinson, Jacoby Lane. So it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Riley spreads these guys out, how they make Michigan's defense react. Or does Wink start disguising stuff? That first quarter is going to be an interesting, I think it's going to have a couple of catches kind of pawing each other. I think it's going to be a low scoring, to be honest with you. So again, knowing that Zachariah has been just, I won't say sulking, but waiting for this week to come so he can get out to Michigan and show what he's capable of doing. That whole competitive nature, you want that. Unfortunately for Michigan, they might have to suffer his wrath. Sorry. We know Coach Riley likes to run the football, and he has the guys to do it, and he's got the guys up front to make it happen. Still, when you've got a Zachariah Branch on your team, you got to get him the ball as often as possible. So maybe you see him do some jet sweeps, lining him up in the backfield, running back, set him in motion. Whatever you can do to get him some open space and get the ball in his hands as quickly as possible. And don't forget, Miller Moss, once he takes a snap, 2 seconds, boom, it's gone. So we're going to see if Michigan has a chance to improve on their sack totals. They might not have the time to get to Miller. So yeah, big time game, national TV, big house. What do great players do? They show up in these types of environments. They find a way to make a play. When you get the opportunity, something happens. Let's give Zachariah as many opportunities as possible, but don't force it. Let's make sure we're using the running backs, the tight ends. Love it. I love boring football, but this game, as I said, Michigan gave up 240-something yards to Texas. I think USC has a better wide receiving core than Texas. Quarterback, we can have that discussion another day. We'll see. Hey, USC fans, have you heard about ROY? It stands for Return on You. It's a new platform that lets you, the fans, get involved in NIL like never before by making contributions directly to your favorite athletes. By supporting players directly, you can help shape rosters, you can retain talent, and you can keep your favorite athletes out of the transfer portal. As you all know, NIL has changed the game for athletes. ROY is changing the NIL game for the fans. When you join ROY, you're going to get exclusive content access, including you'll be able to receive exclusive access to the content from the athletes, such as their announcement decision. So if you're considering a high school athlete, you might know before everybody else when he's going to announce, as well as behind the scenes footage and other personal reflections, all of which are available only to the fans who support the athlete. Here's the nice thing. There's no risk with your contributions. Fans' contributions are securely held and are only distributed if the athlete makes a decision that aligns with the fan's support. If not, you're going to get your money back. How's that? Download ROY for iOS or Android and enter a referral code locked on, and you're going to automatically be entered. Check this out. Sweepstakes, $5,000 cash. Just enter the code locked on. That's all you got to do. You might get lucky. You might win $5,000. Visit joinroy.com for additional details. No purchase is necessary. Void where prohibited. Get the Roy app for iOS or Android and start making an impact on your favorite team. Get off the sidelines, support the players, change the game with Roy. All right, I got some recruiting information for you before we get out of here. At some point today, my everydayers are going to see a 5-star wide receiver from Utah. You know his name, Jerome Miles. He's going to be picking between USC and Utah, and some believe Texas A&M is still in there too. They're holding a big bag over here, saying, "Hey, don't forget about us." It's going to be USC. You know why? Because he was originally scheduled to commit October 30th. He took a visit to USC. Within hours, he changed his commitment date to September 18th. And here we are. So look, unless he's had a change of heart since then, Jerome Miles is going to be a part of USC's recruiting class. That means he and Juju Lewis will be the 2 5-stars in the class. For those of you who like to hang on the star system, USC will now have 2, which means their class ranking is going to improve. I don't know if they'll be top 10, but they'll be much closer. I will do this for you guys. I'm not sure what the exact number is going to be, but I will say by the time everything's all said and done, pen to paper, letter of intent, both of them, I think USC will have at least 4 5-star players. You heard it here first. Now, let me give you another recruiting nugget. And this one might upset my Oklahoma Sooner everyday fans who watch this show, who listen to the show. Sooner fans, it's not personal. This is just business. And I think you know where I'm going with this, right? Look, Eric Henderson, dude's relentless. When he sees something, when he wants something, he's going to keep going until he gets it. Defensive tackle, Floyd Boucard. He's on Flip Watch. Monday night, defensive tackle Floyd Boucard announced his decommitment from Oklahoma. You already knew that, Sooner fans. You probably came over here to hear about me gloating about it. You have to wait a little bit longer. He's not in the bag yet. Like I said, I think Sooner fans were already waiting for this to happen because Floyd had let everybody know that he was going to be taking a visit last week. He was supposed to go watch the Miami game when they took on Ball State. Guess what? He never took that trip. He never went down to Miami. So, Scott Schrader, my buddy over there at wersc.com, recruiting guru, said he's hearing things. Yeah, he's hearing things. In July, let me remind everybody, Floyd said he allowed his gut feeling to get to him, and he committed to Oklahoma over USC and Miami. Before he made that commitment public, he was one of those fight on emojis that USC sent out. He was. But then he got that gut feeling, and he ended up committing to Oklahoma for some reason. Well, now USC is a favorite for the 6'2.5", 315-pounder from Canada. This is what he said. Boucard said USC made a big impression on his official visit and had former Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald personally call him during the trip and offer to train him if he ends up in Los Angeles. I think that's what got him to give USC one of these back then during the summer. Floyd also said this about USC, quote, "They create Heisman winners and big dogs come out of that school. Coach Henney has NFL experience. He has won a Super Bowl, and they could do big things with defensive linemen there." That's what he said back in July. I don't know when he's planning to make his announcement again, but all of a sudden, all the recruiting predictions are USC, not Oklahoma, not Miami. I'm going to tell you this right now. If USC beats Michigan, let me rephrase that. When USC beats Michigan, watch out, the recruiting floodgates are going to open up. It's going to be like Niagara Falls. Just everybody's going to be looking at USC. Oh my God, I hope they have space. I might want to go there. You're already starting to see that a little bit. You got the wide receiver, Jerome Miles. It sounds like Floyd Boucard likes what he sees. That proof of concept on defense, it's working. And don't forget about these guys that USC has lost out on originally, but they're not giving up on. You got guys like Riley Pettyjohn, the linebacker, who's committed to Ohio State for now. You've got offensive tackle Aaron Dunn, who's committed to Utah for now. Douglas Utu, offensive lineman from Bishop Gorman, who's committed to Tennessee. We'll see. There's a few other guys out there that are starting to look in USC's direction again. There's a defensive back who's currently committed to Colorado. His name's Alex Graham from Michigan. I'm going to be seeing him in his high school game when I get out there this weekend. Tell you what I see. Tell you if I like him. Doesn't matter if I do or not. I'll tell you my impression when I see him. That's it for this episode of Locked on USC. Oh, by the way, if you want to check out all that recruiting information and all my written content, that's VIP, wersc.com right now, 50% off annual subscription. Just use code FIGHTON, all capitals, 2 words, fight on. That's it. That's it for this episode of Locked on USC. I will be back again tomorrow with another one. Until then, everyone, you know what to do.